Yo, what is going on YouTube? This your boy Kamen Zero Spike back again once again. And today, people, today we're here for Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger episode 20, and we in the 20s now, y'all. We get it in miraculous, miraculous. But this episode was actually dope. It was full of twists, some stuff that we, were speculating about kind of got revealed. Miraculous and got to see some awesome fight scenes as freaking usual. Also, no mecha fight in this episode either. No mecha fight, just pure hands and swords and plans in the background, and a really unnecessary weird marriage that shouldn't have happened. I mean, what was the point of it? But in this episode, we basically start off with Miraculous is marrying Suzume, and Dabowski is trying to hold back his composure because he's putting on that fake smile and not really liking what's going on, but it's all part of the plan anyway. So we see that Miraculous is now talking with Miraculous is now talking with Dabowski, telling him that, oh, you're basically like my elder brother now and stuff like that. And he tells Dabowski that he's willing to let bygones be bygones if he brings him back the lance, and with the lance that goes with the crown. And he says that if you bring me back this lance, everything, hey, we good, we but you gonna do what I say now, because now he essentially, by marrying Suzume, he is essentially brought their kingdoms together now. So they are like in this real like alliance now, because two separate people from two separate kingdoms have married each other, basically uniting those two, Tofu and Shugadam. So the other Rangers, they're basically watching this, and we see that Yanma figures out that he's basically has brought in Dabowski over to his side, but Dabowski will also still try to find a way to betray him anyway. And Miraculous is also kind of back to his old self in this episode. He's not like a cowering fool that he was in the last episode, but he has also figured out a way to basically, he tells Dabowski that, hey, bring me back the lance, because the other kings will probably try to take the lance and find a way to give it to Gira. We see that Gira is in a cell in Rita's kingdom, and we see that Dabowski calls Jeremy to his kingdom and says that, hey, bring me the lance. Hey, I have the lance. I'm gonna give the lance back to him. I would like for you to accompany me when I bring him the lance. But is a whole nother elaborate. It's like 3 different elaborate plans that they got going on here. So we see that Bushimir, who was, I called him Mario, who was like one of Miraculous's like right hand men. Basically, he's come cowering back to Miraculous, and Miraculous saying that you basically abandoned me. You ran away and abandoned your king. Why should I bring you back now? Like I should like execute you and stuff. And he basically tells him that I'm sorry. Well, you see, Bunga, the other dude, I called him Luigi. He hasn't come back yet. So I mean, aren't I better than him and whatever? So Miraculous basically tells him, they said, hey, bring me the lance, because Dabowski probably gonna do some dumb stuff, probably gonna do something to betray me, and all the other kings are probably gonna conspire against me and take the lance to Gira. So he ends up using he said, if you fail to bring the lance to me, then I will dispose of you like the tool you are. And uses his sword and cuts the dude's pants off, and he runs out to go find the lance. We see that Rita starts talking to Gira while he's in the cell, the icy frozen cell. She basically tells him that, why did you ask him to do a trial by combat? Why did you try to do a trial by combat with him? Now you actually have to fight him, and because that you're actually trying to fight him, he's now been able to catch his breath and like regain the trust of all the people, because a majority of the people are back on Miraculous's side, even though he did what he did in the last episode with the Bugnarok, coming into the city and whatnot. So Gira basically says that I challenged him to it. He basically, being his fake tyrant king wannabe self, basically says that I only asked him to do a trial by combat so I can take him down myself and take the throne from him. So we end up going to the Bugnarok. We see Kamen, who is basically trying to think of some kind of little scheme that he wants to come up with, and Dark says, "No, I'm not doing no more liberty schemes. We're going to pull together all our forces, everyone who is willing to die for the Bugnarok species, and we're going straight into Shogunam. We're going to destroy it all. We're going to take it all by force." And that's the only scene we get with Death Note. So we ended up seeing that Yanma and Himeno, wow, Yanma and Himeno are off looking for Dabowski, because they know that, after get heard from Jeremy basically told them what he was trying to do. So they ended up intercepting Dabowski, but turns out it wasn't Dabowski. It was Jeremy. It was Jeremy holding the lance with he was basically disguised as Dabowski, wearing his cloak, and turns out they saw it was Jeremy, and then Jeremy is holding the lance. But then that's when the Bugnarok attack, and when the Bugnarok actually attack, we see that they think Jeremy called them, but it wasn't. We see that all three of them start fighting the Bugnarok. But while this is going on, we see that the trial by combat is ready to commence. We see that both of the brothers are here. They both take up their swords, and then Rita is also there because they have to be there because of the they have to be the ref or whatever. And everybody in Shogunam is seeing this fight. Everybody is being broadcasted just like it was the last time, but it's different this time. We see that the crown was also brought back to Raculus. We see that they basically say what they want if they win the fight, basically saying that Raculus says that he wants to defeat Gira, and then Gira will spend the rest of his life in a jail cell. And we see that Gira just says that, "Oh, I want you, the throne will be mine." He wants to be king. So the fight commences. We see that Raculus ends up transforming, but then also transforming into his king form, into his version of the king form. And that's when they both go at it, and Gira is sort of having a hard time. It's like we could tell that Gira has gotten stronger, but he's still not able to get a lick on Raculus. Raculus is sort of like one-shotting him and hitting him, but Gira just keeps getting on back up. And while this is happening, we see that Raculus doesn't have the lance yet, but while the others are still fighting off those Bugnarok that were in the city, we see that Bushmir, the dude, he runs up with his pants hanging off, with his pants falling down, and he ends up bumping into Jeremy and actually taking the lance from Jeremy, and ends up running off to give it to Raculus after they ended up defeating the other after they get done defeating the rest of the Bugnarok grunts in the city. So everybody basically they're on their way to the wasteland. We see that they're fighting, everybody's going at it, stuff like that. We see that the Bushmir, he ends up running up and he does end up giving the lance to, they end up finding that the lance is a fake lance. It was a lance that Jeremy ended up creating thanks to Dabowski, and he ended up having the real lance. And when he takes this lance, he ends up giving this lance to Gira. But before all that, we did see that Gira does end up defeating Raculus, but he tells Raculus that if you apologize for everything that you did, if you tell everyone about your evil deeds and all this other stuff that you're going on, I will surrender and you can continue to be king. But I want you to go back to being the king that I remember. I want you to go back to being the person I remember. You were a good person. And basically they're out of suit at this point. They're both out of suit. And that's when Raculus is like, I understand. But he's like, no, we're in the middle of a duel. And he says, people, he said, these people are meant to be used as tools until they're broken. These people are nothing. These people are basically nothing. That's the only way they can truly be happy, is for me to rule them. And I am the nation. I am everything. They are nothing. And everybody in the rest of the city basically sees that. We did see earlier that some of the people are actually rooting for Gira while the fight was happening. One guy was like, when the Bugnarok attacked, when the Bugnarok basically invaded, Gira was the only one that came in and came and saved us. Reckless didn't do nothing. And then Hat Guy is like, hey, how dare you, don't disrespect Reckless like that, man. So you got one half rooting for Gira. Well, you know, some people are rooting for Gira, especially the kids, and we got other people rooting for Reckless. So the Bugnarok end up attacking, but Rita jumps down and actually intercepts them, while the other two, Yama and Himeno end up showing up as well, and Jeremy end up showing up as well to fight off. Well, not Jeremy hasn't shown up yet, but to basically fight off the Bugnarok that are trying to interrupt the fight. And the two brothers go back at it, and then that's when Dabowski comes in and gives Gira the real lance, and he lets Gira hear that all the people in the city are chanting his name after them hearing what Reckless's true intentions are, and his true personality comes out. So, but what's really cool was we actually saw that Gira was able to take down Reckless just a little bit by end up stealing his shield and calling him names and using his shield and get a sword, fusing them together, and actually being able to push back Reckless just a little bit, even when he's in his king form. So after the people are chanting for him and everything, he's able to knock the crown off of Reckless's head, and Reckless goes back to his regular ranger form. So we see that that's when Gira grabs the lance, grabs the crown, and ends up transforming into his king form. And actually, he goes off and actually defeats, Reckless. He ended up defeating Reckless the same way Reckless defeated him, by hitting him off the cliff and him falling and things like that. So yeah, he said, Dabowski's like, you must defeat Reckless. So now that Reckless has basically been defeated, all the people are Shogunama on Gira's side now. But we also saw that Bushmir was revealed to be Kamen, and Reckless sees this and he's pissed off. He's like, where's the real? He said, you were a spy this whole time? How long have you been a spy? And he's like, we don't know. And he got some scroll action going on here. But he basically tells him that he probably has been a spy for a long time, because he mentions that Bushmir is probably, he basically kidnapped the original Bushmir, and he says, oh, he's probably like bones by now, which means that Bushmir probably was killed and eaten, and Bushmir is probably, the real Bushmir is probably dead right now. And since Kamen basically said he's nothing but bones. And that's when the rest of the Rangers end up beating the crap out of Bushmir and almost destroying him, but he ends up teleporting away at the last second. So I knew Kamen not gonna die this early. We just hit episode 20. He's most likely not gonna die right now. But after that, that's when Gira, Reckless go back to their fight. We see that Gira ends up defeating Reckless, hitting him down the king in the same way Reckless defeated him. And that's when, at the end of the episode, we see that the rest of the kings come up to him, and that's when Rita basically appoints him to the new king of Shogunam. And that's it. The episode basically ends off right there. Next episode, they're basically going to be teaching Gira how to be a king by him going to all the different kingdoms and learning their ways, and basically learning how to learning their ways and learning how those kingdoms work, basically, because if you're a king, you got to know how other kingdoms in your area work. But yeah, it was dope. This episode was, I know I kind of sounded all over the place, but I just watched the episode and it's actually pretty freaking cool. This is my second upload for today, but yeah, man, seeing Reckless finally be defeated in this way was actually pretty it wasn't super satisfying because he's not dead. Reckless is not dead. We know Reckless is gonna come back some form of, he's gonna come back, and he's gonna come back with a vengeance. He's gonna probably gonna come back stronger, some new power, some new form, something like that. But Reckless ain't dead, yo. But if he does come back, we all know that the world, well, at least Shogunam and the other kingdoms know that he is a bad dude, and he isn't what they thought he was. He was a big liar, things like that. So he's most likely not gonna have Shogunam on his side anymore, and most likely isn't gonna have any other kingdoms on his side. He is completely alone. He can't even go to the Bugnarok this time, so he is also completely alone. But yeah, the Bugnarok basically kind of the only Bugnarok that really did anything in this episode was Kamen. Well, somewhat overthink with Kamen. Grunts or grunts, they don't matter. And Death Rock, I was kind of hoping Death Rock would kind of show his face in this episode. He did show his face, but he didn't like appear to anybody else. I kind of felt like he would have, came up to some degree or said something to them to some degree, but he didn't. But yeah, man, it was pretty, like, this had me on the edge of my seat. I really loved this the fight between Reckless and Gira. I wonder how Reckless is gonna come back. You guys let me know. How you guys think Reckless is gonna make his big freaking evil return or whatnot? Okay, he still has his sword. He still can transform, even though he doesn't have the the crown and the lance anymore. He's still out there. So yeah, but you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of Ohsama Sentai King-Ohger episode 20. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and remember, as I always say, guys, stay henshined.